Yes. We all need to be tried at some time, to be tested for genuineness. Because everybody say that they love you, but when things get down, not all the way around. So even the Messiah and the Father has to test us to see if we are genuine in what we say. I know you said that you would do all that I say, but when everybody else around you is not doing what I say, will you do it? And so, that's a good song. Prepare me. So I'm going to pray real quick. Father, I ask that you do prepare me. Let me decrease so that you can increase and your people can be edified, so that I can be edified. Father, let your word, as Pastor Jay said, be sent forth and said with power and authority to touch myself and the people that hear, through that's here or even through the airwaves from now or in the future. Father, your word can return to your voice. So Father, let your word be set forth here today so that your kingdom can be advanced. And we thank you, we praise you, and we lift up your name. It's through your son, Yeshua HaMashiach, that I pray. Amen, amen. Amen. Put this back. I want to be able to see everybody a little bit better. So how are we? House to study. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And if anybody who doesn't know what that means, that's you speaking wholeness, not just peace, but wholeness. That every yoke that has come upon you this week or in the past, no matter who pronounced it, that it be destroyed in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. So when you say Shabbat Shalom, you asking that the Father, that the Son destroys everything. Every yoke that's been holding us down, that has been downtrodden us, that has been beating us up this week. And we say, let there be peace, let there be healing, let you be whole today. So we say Shabbat Shalom to you out there watching. Shabbat Shalom. And so this has been a rough week for myself. We have fasted as a congregation. I know it's been a little tough for some of us. For me, this probably was a day that I didn't do a fast. I repented, got back on board. But it's been good. It's been good. It's been humbling. I just got off one, as you did, Mike, about 3 weeks, and I rested on the Shabbat. And but this past week has been good, and it gives me a reminder that we have to go through some things, or we have to learn to destroy the flesh, to kill the flesh so that the spirit might live. And so I like to say that love had pains in it. Love pains, I'll say it. As women know, there's birth pains. Anyone who has had a child, there's been birth pains. And no woman wants to go through 40 weeks or 41 weeks or 42 weeks, God forbid. Bless y'all for all those who have delivered. But nobody wants to go through birth pains, go through the swelling of the feet, the headaches, or can't rest, or I can't lay on this side, I can't lay on that side, I can't lay on this. I need nobody to touch me time, and I need I'm craving for something that just doesn't sound right to anybody else but you at that time. But no one wants to go through all that and not deliver something that has life, or to have, God forbid, a stillbirth. And so, as I thought about that, we don't want to go through this time of fasting, through these love pains that we're going through, where we expecting something, but yet we come out not delivering something or birthing something inside of us. He's looking to birth something greater inside of each one of us. And so we're going to learn, as the women have learned, my feet swell. We should be swelling in certain areas that we didn't swell in before. We should, our trust should be swelling. Our faith should be swelling. There's certain aspects of our life as we go through this fast that should have swelled in you. And you should have a taste for certain things that you didn't have a taste for before. I have a taste to be in your presence more. I've been in your presence and it was good and all, but during this time of letting this flesh go and hearing from you, I have a thirst for you that I didn't have before. And so these cravings don't seem to be normal, but I'm not being in a normal situation right now. I'm pining for you right now, Father, I'm pining for you, Yeshua. I need that power to come for you. And so at this time, as we continue to do these next 2 weeks, I want us to really, as Pastor talked last week about what fasting is and a certain type of fast, as we fast these next 2 weeks, we should be looking for a change, looking to birth something and not to birth something of dead works. Because we can do that. There can be dead works. Just because we put on a Seder, a Peshat, a Passover, it could be dead works if your heart. If we don't do it because we love who he is and what he has done and love the people that's coming. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to keep it too long. We spent a little bit of time, and I know I got to cut off time, so I'm not going to spend too long up here, but I want that to be a mindset as we continue these next 2 weeks through our fasting, that we are looking or expecting a birth of something greater, of new life. Because there's been some dead areas in our life. Some of us need to forgive some people. Some of us need to destroy certain yokes in our lives that we have allowed to allow us to be down, allow us to not be loving as we should be to our spouse, to our kids, to our people at co-workers or anything. And so as we go into that, I just want to go ahead and read. Let's open up our word of God, because that's the only thing that has power. My words don't, but his words do. And so let's go to the word. We're going to Corinthians. Second Corinthians chapter 10. Someone want to read for me? You got a mic up there? I've been hard fasting this past 2 days, and so the first time you see me, or when you see me drink water, it'll be the first time I drink water in a few days. And it's hard being outside working, sweating up here. It's hot. But I'm expecting something greater. So 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 through 5.
2 Corinthians 10, 3 through 5. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Elohim to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing into captivity every thought into the obedience of the Moshiach.
And when I said all that, it made me think, as we do this fast, there's some strongholds that we need to speak to this next 2 weeks, that we need to cast down. As the word says, that exalt itself against the knowledge of Jehovah. And there's some things that we have even said to ourselves or about ourselves that's against the knowledge that he has pronounced to each one of us, but yet we still claim certain things over us. As in, I just don't love people. I just can't stand people. I can't stand that person. Or I'm just born to be broke. I'm just born to be. He has spoken other things over us, but that's against that we have pronounced over ourselves. That's against the knowledge of Jehovah. And so we have to learn to break through these strongholds so that we can be, as a congregation, as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a city, as a state, as a nation, as a world that proclaims who Yeshua and what he has done for us. And so my message today, or the title that I put, which I just thought of this morning, Love, Pain, Break Strongholds. So I'm saying again, love, pain, breaks strongholds. And what I mean by that is, I said with love, pain is with the fasting that we're doing. So these next 2 weeks, or it will be 3 weeks as we come to completion, as we stop on the Seder, on the Peshat, there should be some strongholds that should have been broken. And so I need everybody to look inside their own life, because your stronghold is not my stronghold. You know, some of us had some abuse going on back years ago that we still have not, it has a stronghold over us. That spirit was put over us, but yet there's a power that's inside of us that's given to us by Yeshua HaMashiach that's able to break every stronghold. I believe it says all strongholds, casting down every imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Jehovah, bring it to captivity every thought. So you're going to hear those people saying in back of your mind, or those things that people have done to you, it's going to come up to you, but you cast it out. And what it says, you bring it to captivity. You say, I take hold of you right now in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. And every thought into obedience, you have to come into the obedience of Christ. There's no longer I live in bitterness. This person has hurt me, but I can't live in bitterness to serve Yah the way I need to serve Him. I can't live in this hatred, this anger that I had ever since I've been born. But I know I cast that out in the name of Yeshua. So we have to break these strongholds. But I want each one of us to look inside yourself, Karen, Mike, Shannon, Miss Betty, Charles, all of us, all the way through. I'm not going to go through everybody, but everybody. Marcel. And I'm talking to myself too. I have to look inside myself and say, what am I doing? Am I just not eating? Or we just stop doing certain things? Am I just saying that He's wonderful, but I just don't know how wonderful He is? Or is there something about this that I need to take hold on to? And so I wasn't going to go here, but I want to read this. I'll probably come back to this. I want to read 2 Corinthians chapter 1. I like this verse. The reason why we go here, because like I said, we have to learn to open our mouths and speak to things and capture these things and bind these things. So 2 Corinthians chapter 1, let's start at, we're just going to do two verses, verse 3 and 4. Let me make sure I'm right. No, that's not it. No, I'm sorry, it's Ephesians. No, it's somewhere else. Ephesians chapter 3. So Ephesians chapter 3, and it is two verses, verse 8 and 9.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 8 and 9. Unto me, who am less than the least of all saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Christ, and to make all men what is the fellowship of the mystery which from the beginning of the world hath hid in Yah, who created all things by Yeshua HaMashiach, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of Yah.
So what I like about this is really verse 10, to let us know that we have a purpose, that we as a church are even to teach or to expound on the wisdom of Elohim or Jehovah, even the principalities, even to those things, the heavenly powers, the powers in heaven. So we are even should be able to teach demons some things, to speak to those things and say, no, Jehovah lives in me. And so everything that you have spoken over me, I cancel right now in the name and by the blood of Yeshua. We are to teach him that there's more power in the blood than there is than anything else that he can pronounce over you. Yes, you've been abused, but yet, the blood. I know you've been talked about, and I know some people have proclaimed some things over you, but the blood has been pronounced over you. Even there's a verse that says that we have been sent in heavenly places with Christ. And so it says, even we will judge angels. And so we even to teach angels, they don't understand the salvation that we have. The demons don't understand the salvation we have. So we have a praise. Yes, they praise us, but our praise should be greater because we have a salvation that they don't understand. And so we are to teach them, even the powers in heavens, of how great and how awesome and his wisdom that he has for us. And so we also, during this time, we learn to break every stronghold. Again, the stronghold, you can just choose one. Whatever has been really fighting against you these past 10, 20 years, or last year, or last week, whatever it is. So whatever it is, we need to learn to do these things to proclaim the power and the victory that we have in Yeshua. So I'm going to go there, but I said let's go there. But as we talk about this love pains, led me to think that there's three, I would say, entities or powers that we should be learning to love as we go through this, as we enter into this Moedim, this Peshat, and that is the Father, the Son, and His people. And so we're just going to expound a little bit on the three of them. And so I'm going to start now with just the Father itself. And so let's go to the Father and see how, one, we are to love Him and how He loves us. And so one of the greatest ones is how what we pronounce almost every Shabbat is the Shema. And so let's go to the Shabbat. Let's do that first, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 6. It's actually in 4 places. Do y'all remember where it's at? Speak to me if y'all know what's at. Deuteronomy chapter 6. Chapter 6.
Deuteronomy 11, 13 through 21, Numbers 15, 37 through 48.
Can somebody say without reading it? No, she has it written down. That's good. We should have it written down so we can take notes and read it and to reflect on it. But let's do the one that we say, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. We're going to do 4 through 9. Anybody can read.
Hear, O Israel, Jehovah our Elohim is one, and thou shalt love Jehovah thy Elohim with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words that I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou children, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign on thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates.
Amen. And if you read here, it says in verse 5, and thou shalt love Jehovah thy Elohim with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall it be in thy heart. I like even how the song on my mom says, should be an ornament upon thy forehead. I like that. Yeah, ornament on the forehead, which is a song that the kids going to sing as they bring forth the ark during the Seder itself. But yes, these are things. The commandments should be an ornament, should be a sign to everybody, to everything that we touch, that we belong to somebody, and this is Jehovah, and that everything that we do, everything we touch, and everything we think about is based on how we love Him. And so the Shema is actually a declaration is for us to show His character, as Pastor said one time, that the Shema itself is to reveal the character of Christ to the nations. And so for us to do that, we have to take hold of what this is, and that means to love Him. And so when we go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, we'll see certain ways that we are to love Him. But we can go through every verse. It usually says, keep His commandments. But let's just go through it. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. So I know this is going to be, it's hard for some of us as we go through some of this time and learning how we have come out of the church and how we have come out of whatever denomination, or just come out of no church. Just come out of, some's going to come out of Muslim, some's going to come out of atheist or agnostic or Hinduism, the New Age, because that's being very popular right now. Everything in the New Age, and let's open up the third eye. This everything. We come out of all those things, as it says in Revelation chapter 17, mystery Babylon. And people don't understand what that word mystery means. It means something in secret. As in Babylon is still here. There's a secret in here, something hidden from the masses. But as us who know the truth has been quickened by the Holy Spirit, we don't lay foolish on the things that the enemy has. As Paul says, we know the vices of the enemy. It's the same thing. As Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. He may try to use different things. Look, I knew that. I don't mean point to you. I know what you're trying to do. It's the same spirit with a different woman. I know what you're trying to do with the same cankerous attitude, but with a different. I'm at a new job, but you bring that same spirit to me. There's no device that's new. He does the same thing over and over. It's hoping that you bite. It's hoping that you just give in. He just needs you one time, because you do it once, it's easy to do it again. Because sin may seem good for a season, but all of it leads to death. And so we have to learn to be strong and to resist the devil. And he's going to flee. He's like, okay, I guess not this time. Maybe next time. That's why we always should be on our guards. And if we break the strongholds now, there's no temptation that will be able to set upon us and to rest upon us and allow any spirit to come upon us. So as we read Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 6, because we all inherit the lies. Even in Jeremiah 16, it says the Gentiles will say, we have inherited lies. I know we say we have inherited lies, but even the Gentiles themselves will say, those who are not God's people say, you know what we were doing is lies. He's Jehovah. It's going to be as it was when the children of Israel came out of Egypt and the whole world trembled and they said, your God is God. We've been playing with some people that easily broken, but your God can deliver. No God can deliver like your God can deliver. And so we are to be that proclamation to the nation that no God can deliver like our God. So we can't walk around looking defeated, looking sad, looking like somebody just stole our candy. No, we are to walk as victorious. We are to walk as we have been the power that's been given to us by the Holy Spirit. So Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 6 through 10. Okay.
And Jehovah thy Elohim will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Jehovah thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou may live it. And the Lord thy Elohim and Jehovah thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
What I like about this is that, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I do like about this is it says Jehovah will do it, that he will circumcise our heart. And so he's not just leaving us out here to go through the stuff and not giving us the tool, or he himself come down and say, I'm the one that will cut these things off. Don't worry about your enemy. I will destroy the enemy that comes against you. And so it is Jehovah himself that we put our trust in, and we learn to love him with, it says, all our heart, with all our might, all our soul. You go ahead and continue, verse 8.
Verse 8. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Jehovah, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day.
And so love causes an action. So many times people say, I love you, but there's been no action that's shown that. You know, I can't tell my wife I love her, and yet I don't show her anything that I do. She wouldn't believe that, would you? No, she wouldn't. My wife wouldn't believe that. I don't think anybody here would believe that when someone says, I love you, but yet they mistreat you. You know, so when we say we love Jehovah, it causes an action. And what it says here is it causes to return to him, to obey his voice. So that means you have to be listening to what he has to say. And so that means sometimes you're going to have to drown out, or sometimes you're going to have to go to a fast, Or sometimes we don't have to go into our secret place or into our closet so we can shut out the noise of the kids, because kids can be loud. Our spouses can be loud. And sometimes you have to turn off the TV and just say, what do you have for me today? I seek your face today. And so to obey, you have to be listening. Because there's many voices out there. But in 1 John it says, test the spirit. And so if it goes against the word of God, oh, okay, that wasn't good. And so we have to learn to be sensitive. As Yeshua said, my sheep hear my voice. And so we should be sensitive to the voice of Jehovah and say, oh, I know that voice. That's my master. And so we have to be keen to be ready, as David said, I made haste to keep thy commandments. He said, I made haste, as a he quickly did it. Not that he waited until tomorrow, so I'll wait till I get right. I wait until this person starts treating me right, until I start being right. Now, I ain't going to forgive this person until they treat me right. Now, we make haste to keep his commandments. It's his commandments that we're looking to do. And so, as it says, and do all his commandments which I command you this day, in verse 9.
And Jehovah thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Jehovah will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Jehovah thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto Jehovah thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thine soul.
And again, we're talking about loving the Creator, loving the Father, our Abba. And so this is what we're talking about right now. That's again, how do we love him? And as we see, one is that we turn, we listen. We stop what we're doing and we turn, we learn to listen to what he has to say. And we're not going to go through all of them because there's so many, just in Deuteronomy itself. But this is one thing that we have to learn to do, to stop, to listen, and then obey. And we don't even have to even wonder, it's already written down for us. He said that's written down in the book of the Torah. And so we don't have to even question, what should I be doing to please, to show my love, my gratitude to the Father. It's already written down for us. And all we got to do is return, listen to what it has, Shema, which means listen or hearken with the attitude to do, and this will be obedient to. And so, but the Father knows our heart. So even in Jeremiah, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17. He knows that we are a wicked bunch. He knows how sometimes we can be hard-headed. Sometimes we still want to do our own thing. Even though he's been so good to us, we still want to say, I want more. We as kids, we give them everything they want, but they still want more. As in, we just didn't give them something else. You give them one toy, then they see another toy, and they want that toy. Didn't I just? Why don't you play with this? And so sometimes we as kids, and we're just never happy with what we have. And so he knows our heart, and thankfully that he is a merciful God. He is a merciful God, not giving his children everything that they deserve, every punishment and discipline. And so sometimes he say here in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 19. I'm just going to read this part. So Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 19, he said, thus says Jehovah unto me. So Jehovah speaking unto Jeremiah. Go and stand in the gate of the children of the people, whereby the kings of Yehudah come in, and by the which that they go out, in all the gates of Jerusalem. And say unto them, hear Shema the word of Jehovah, ye kings of Yehudah, and all of Yehudah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem that enter by these gates. Thus says Jehovah, take heed to yourself, and bear no burden on the Shabbat, on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in the gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day as I commanded your fathers. But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear nor receive instruction. And then it says, and came to pass, as Jehovah still speaking, if ye diligently hearken. And so I love, even though we were stiff-necked, he said, I'm going to say it again. Maybe I didn't hear him. maybe the TV was too loud. Maybe this guy or something. So let me just say it again, because maybe you didn't hear me. So I thankfully that he's a guy that doesn't. I just want to love my kids. You know how we are as parents. We just want to love our kids. You're making it hard for me to love you today. And Jehovah said the same thing. Did you just, I'm going to say it again. But I know something about my house, I say it once. So he's more gracious than I am sometimes. Like I said it once. If I say it again, I mean, the belt's coming off. So I thankfully, he's even more merciful than I am. So I can learn from him. So thank you, Jehovah, for teaching me. But even here, he says it again. And so he says, even as we have done our kids, look, just pick this up. Just pick that one thing up, or just clean that area. Even though I told you to clean the house, I don't want to whoop you. Just clean your room. Just clean your room. And so he says again, just keep the Sabbath. And nothing else. Just keep the Sabbath. And this is echoed in Isaiah chapter 56 when he talks to the strangers. Those who keep the Sabbath, the strangers who keep the Sabbath, or the sons of the strangers who keep the Sabbath, they're not profane, but who do their own things or their own works on the Sabbath, say their own words, and it does not profane it, as they continue to say. They should have a greater name than the children of Israel. And so even here, he talks to his people, his kids, Israel, and said, just keep the Sabbath. I love you so much that I know it may be a hard burden upon you, but even though it's not, I still just want to bless you so much. So just keep the Sabbath, please. And they were like, no. You know what? I'm going to say it again. Yeah. And so he enters to again and says it again. It says, where's one? But 24, and it shall come to pass that if he diligently, he just says it again, if he diligently hearken unto me, says Jehovah, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath, to do no work therein, then shall there enter into the gates of this city kings and princes, sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots on horses, they and their princes, the men of Yehuda, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever. I'm going to pour out a blessing upon you if you just keep my Sabbath. You're going to have kings and princes that the whole world's going to be saying, oh, there's a God over there that loves them. How great is that kingdom Israel? What they should be saying right now, but we still being disobedient and stiff-necked. And so if there's one thing, that's just one thing, I know I have a claim to myself and also to my house. But one thing we're going to do, we're going to not profane the Sabbath. We are not going to profane the Sabbath. Because if it is the one thing, that's the one thing I'm going to make sure I take heed to. So if in all of us, and as we walk this thing out, as we do the Sabbath, we need to remember, look, just don't profane the Sabbath. Even, like it says, echo in Isaiah 56, where it says to the strangers that they receive a better name than the children of Israel. So can we not just keep one thing for him? Can we not show him that we love him just by not profaning the Sabbath? It's only one day. One day. Not like we have a lot to do. We spend a lot of time here anyway. So can we not just not profane the Sabbath? I mean, don't we love him at least that much? It should be. We should be. And so during this time of fast, as we learn to break even the stronghold of profaning the Sabbath, I'm not saying all else do, but as we walk, there's always going to be something. Our family, our friends, hey, just do this. Just one time. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You see them next week, but it'll always be something. It's always something. Even today, somebody tried to do something. Hey, I want to buy this from you. I'm like, no, not today. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it tomorrow. If you don't want to do it tomorrow, then so shall it be. But I would not do. I'm not going to carry any burden in or out of the gates or into my house or out of my house. Not today. This is his day. He hallowed this day. He set it aside. I didn't set it aside. He set it aside. Since he set it aside and commanded me not to profane it, that's just how it is. I love him too much to disobey him. And so as we go through this, time that we enter into the Shabbat, or not to Shabbat, to the Seder, the Moedim, the Shabbat, the Passover, we need to press in to loving God. He already pressed in to loving us. But we need to press in to loving God. And so whatever stronghold that's keeping you from loving him, from keeping his Sabbath, from obeying his word, from listening to what he has to say or doing the Torah, or even reading it. I mean, challenge us, how many of us even read it or read it this week to know what he had to say for us? Because he has something for you, Mike, Shannon. He has something for you, Mama, this week, Miss Pam. And so, how was it even searching out what he has for us to change us? Because in Psalms chapter 19, verse 7, let's just go over it. And I know this is difficult, but it's important that we truly keep going over these verses. Keep going over these verses. Let it be part of our lives. Let it be something that we say or something we dwell on. But here in Psalm chapter 19, verse 7, is everybody there? It says, the Torah of Jehovah is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Jehovah is sure, making wise the simple. And so as we see here, it is the Torah that makes us wise. And so we ask for wisdom. It's there. He said, I wrote it down for you. You have it on your laptop. You have it on you have no excuse. It's on your phone. It converts the soul to make us wise, to make us perfect. And so it is the Torah. So how many of us have read the Torah this week? How many have studied it? Because in Psalms 1:1, I read that. Mom, you want to say it? I know you love it. Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, who are sitting in the seat of scorners, or standing in the path of sinners. But his delight shall be in the law or the Torah of the Lord, and thus he meditates day and night, and then that person shall be like a tree firmly planted, not just casually planted, but it's firmly planted. It ain't moving by the rivers of water. It will produce fruit in due season. Some of you are not producing fruit because you're not meditating on this word. You see people not producing fruit, or maybe you're not meditating. Because I hear that the law of the Lord, the Torah of the Lord is perfect, converting every soul, any soul, making wise the simple. I know I can be simple-minded, and I know I need it in my life. So it should produce fruit in due season, in whatever that person does shall prosper. Right. Whatever. You start a business, it's going to prosper. You dedicate, give it to you. Amen. I'm doing everything by the Torah. I'm doing everything by your way. Father, I gave it to you. I give myself to you. So why would I give this to you? I gave my kids to you. I gave my marriage to you. I give everything to you. So everything that you do is going to prosper. Why? Because it's not mine to begin with. It's yours. I've been bought. I know I've been bought. So I don't do anything of myself to begin with. And so we have to have the mindset, I've been bought. It's his. He owns a cattle of 1,000 hills. It all belongs. We used to sing a song, it all belongs to him. And yet I want to hold it like it's mine. Hold on, don't touch my wallet. Don't touch my wallet. What's that? Get your hand on my pocket?
Yeah.
Not the next. But it's his. Bottom line is it's his. But do we treat it as it's his? Even these kids, I have failed in certain areas, and I say, this is yours. This ain't, even though we have gave me responsibility to these kids, these are your kids.
Right.
You put your spirit in them.
Right.
It's just flesh that I have with them, but your spirit that lives forever is what's in them. So it is your spirit that I need to honor and respect and understand the responsibility, the great responsibility that I have. Even in my marriage, I say it is your spirit that you have placed inside my life, inside your husband, inside those people that you want to not like at work or speak just don't like. Yeah, you look at me funny, I look at you funny. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? but it is His Spirit. And so because of that, they deserve to be loved because I'm loved. Not that I deserve it. I know my attitude, and I have to repent quick. Ooh, thank you for not striking me down, because that's what I deserve. Because I know the wages of sin is death. And so I repent right now. And then I look to the Son and say, thank you. He still has the nails in His hands, in His side. He paid a price that we couldn't pay. Our own death couldn't pay. And so He paid a price that we could not pay or ever pay. We still can't pay Him back. And so we do have to repent to Him. So we do say thank you. And so I say thank you. And so and I thank you for covering my kids. And we gotta thank you for covering our wives, our husbands, or even you, Jason. Thank you for covering us, even for times that we didn't cover them the way we should have covered them. And we started treating them like they were our own. And we said, no, you belong to Him. This marriage belongs to Him. My life belongs to Him. So Jehovah, Father, Abba, as Christ taught us to pray, Abba, I love you. This is yours. My life is yours. And so that's just little things or thought of how we love the Father. But let's talk about how He loves us. And even as we see here, He was patient with us and decided to repeat again in Jeremiah, even though we were stiff-necked and didn't listen. And so even as we are to our kids sometimes, as I learned to be at times, I try to be. So as I've been patient with my kids, learn to be patient with my wife. But He's been patient with us, constantly patient with us. And even in Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 8, I'm just going to read it. So in Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 8, it says, now when I passed by thee, this is Jehovah speaking, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time, the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto you, and enter into a covenant with you, says Jehovah my power, that thou became mine. And so what it's saying is that He just looked upon us and said, I cover you. I just set my love upon you. I make a covenant. You don't have to do anything. I just set my love upon you. And that's what He has done for all of us. That He just looked upon us and said, Bree, I just set my love upon you. I just covered you. I saw you. I saw that you were out there in the elements and people trying to beat you up. I'm covering you. Enter into my rest. And you have a peace that surpasses all understanding. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I do cover you. And so we thank Him for that. And so we do thank Him. But even in Jeremiah, the famous verse I would like to say, He says, I know the thoughts that I have for you. Let's just go there. Let's go there. And it shows that his tender, His compassionate heart that He has for us. Because this is the time, if y'all remember, this is the time that Israel's about to go into Babylon or went into Babylon. Right at that in the beginning time, and then He decided to write a letter or give a prophetic word to Israel because they about to be trodden down, they about to be taken to captivity, they about to be slaves, they about to be ruled over. Even though He's supposed to be the only ruler, the only king. We're going to read that real quick. 29:11. I'll read it. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Jehovah, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall you call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And so this is the time, like I said, where they're about to go into Because he knows even for us, there's times that we about to enter into a hardship. Sometimes his calling is to go through hardships, whether it be disobedience or just to manifest his power in us, or to manifest his power to those who need to know that he is a God that can deliver. And I believe sometimes he let the enemies do things just so that we can overcome, to let us know we have more power. We're to stamp stuff on the head of the enemy. There's nothing that he has. So we are already above him. It was said in Genesis that we are above him. And so just so he knows, I still have victory even in him. Even in my kids, even in Mike. But for this, he has thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end, a hope for us. And so this is the love that the Father has for us. And as we do this next fast and learn to break the strongholds of not loving him the way that he should be loved, and allow him to love us, because sometimes our kids, as they don't receive our love, and we as stiff-necked people don't receive the love or his covering over us as we should. And so whatever stronghold that may be that's preventing you for receiving the love of the Father and to show your love to the Father, I pray that you try to break that stronghold as we enter into this moment. And also to the Son. Now, even though the Father and the Son are one, but Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, there's a love that he has given us and the love that we show to him. Even though I want to say the love of Christ, it's all the same. Even though I said to the Father, to the Son, and to his people, you can't do one without the other. So anytime you say you love the Father, but you're not loving his people, you're not loving the Father. And so anytime you say you love Jesus, but Jesus don't like that Torah or that old things that he gave or the Father, he seems too mean to me, you're not loving Jesus. Because he said, I say nothing of myself but what the Father has given me. So it's the Father who gave the Son the words. And so you can't love Jesus and then say, I don't love the Father. You can't love Jesus but say, I don't love the people. You can't. I know people try to do it. And they say, look, you so nervous. No, that person is getting on my nerves. Everybody avoids my work. He's just that person at work that nobody dislikes, Or no, set your love upon. Now, I don't mean you have to be good friends and best friends and I ain't saying none of that. But they need to be loved. They need to be shown the love. And so even as we read in John chapter 15, where it says no greater love than this, let's find that. That a man lay down his life for a friend. And it's amazing in itself that the creator of all things, that we read in Hebrews, that there was nothing created that was not created by him, by Yeshua HaMashiach. So the creator of all things says, you are his friend. So the creator wrapped himself in flesh and called you a friend. He called us a friend. In verse even 12, it says, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. And it says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. And it says, henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what the Lord does, but I have called you friends, for all things I have heard from my Father I have made known unto you. In verse 17, these things I command you, that you love one another. So to love the Son, to love Jesus, to love Yeshua HaMashiach, is to love others. It's to be a servant to us, which is part of the things that we do not to say are the feet washing stations. We having a feet washing starting at 5 o'clock. Remember, right? 5, 6. She's going to let us know. At 5 o'clock. And so it's one of the things, it's even as Peter said, no, Lord, I can't have you wash me. And he said, if I don't wash you, you won't be clean. You say something? Okay. And then he said, okay, then wash all of you, And so it is something that we as servants, that's what we are. We are servants to the masses, to the people. So it starts in our home. We're servants to our spouses, to our kids, and then we become servants at work, and then we servants here. And so even as we do the Seder, the Passover, we are to be servants there. And so whatever need that you see somebody has, you say, well, what do you need? I'm here to serve you, as my master has served me. And so that is something that we have to understand as we enter into it, that we have to learn to serve or to love people so much that we want to serve them. Because some of us just do this because of, I guess I have to. No, we need to learn to love so much, I can't help but to serve. There's actually a saying that I like to say, or I think I heard it once, and it says, you only love Christ as much as you love someone the least. As in, the person you love the least is how much you love Christ. Because you can't love Christ, because he says, as much as you've done to the least of these, you have done unto me. So whoever you set your love to the least is what you have set your love to Christ. I said, Christ, I only love you this much, because I'm not doing any more for this person. I'm not going to love this person any more than this. Look, I already did this for him, and that was too much for me already. But we need to learn to love Yeshua so much that it becomes easy to serve and to love other people. It's not hard for me to, you need a shirt? Let me take a shirt off my body right now. You need shoes? You can have my shoes. You need $5? My last $5, but you got it. He's giving me too much. I don't, my job doesn't support me, he does. As I said, the heathens worry about what they're going to wear, where they're going to sleep, or where they're going to stay at. So what they're going to eat. I don't do that. That's what the heathens do. So if you want something to eat, you can have this. This is my last meal I thought I was going to eat, as Elijah told that woman we were just going to wrap each other and die together. A child of mine. But he said, give it to me, and then they had enough. Why? Because Jehovah is who keeps us. He keeps us. It's not ourselves. And sometimes we want to say, man, I just lost my job. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Well, how have you been doing it before? He did it. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. He did it. And so many times we want to put stuff on ourselves. We like, as if we have the mic to do it, as we have the resources to do it. Or I have the money to buy it. Or Jehovah gave me the money. Jehovah gave me the strength. Jehovah gave me the mind to do this thing. And so if we start giving him all the credit and all the glory and all the credit, it's going to be holy. But soon we keep giving ourselves the credit and all the glory and credit, you receive your reward, as Christ said. Okay, you got it. That's your reward. Don't expect anything else. That's what he says. You got your reward. But you lift my name up. If you lift his name up, there's reward stored up for you. Because those things are eternal. Whatever reward you get here is temporal. And so that's why I said, set our thoughts on the things of above. And so it is all one the same. I'm saying the love Trinity. It's we love the people, we love the Father, and we love the Son. And you can't love one without loving the other. And if you claim that you love one without loving the other, you ain't loving none of them. I'm saying it again, you can't claim you love one and not love the other, because in the end, you love none of them. You loving how it makes you feel. You loving the thought of it. As people do Disney and they watch those the princess get into the new castle, and the prince comes and takes them. They love the thought of it and gets happy. We love the thought of this. We treat him like he's some prince waiting to shine armor, but we don't do the things. I told my daughter, I said, look, Cinderella had to be weak and humble. She wasn't a cankerous one because they didn't get anything. The evil stepsisters, you can be either the evil stepsister or you can be the one who would love to serve, who served. And then he elevated. He will elevate you. Jehovah will elevate you. So it is who you want to be. And so I went off on that a little bit, but how we love Yeshua, how we love him. And so he demonstrated his love towards us. And so in Matthew chapter 19, a lot of this stuff is just echoed. It just continues to be echoed and duplicated. Because you're going to hear the exact same thing as the Son says, what the Father said. Matter of fact, they can't disagree. He said, my Father and I are one. So when there's unity, when there's true unity, there's no disagreement. And so, even though my wife and I, we may have some things that we look at things maybe a little differently, but when there's true unity, there's no disagreement. We just learn to surrender to the will of whatever needs to be done. And so in Matthew chapter 19, verse 16, and I'm sorry when to stop.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, and that is Jehovah Elohim. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. He said unto him, Which? Yeshua, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Most people will say, see, he always said the 10 Commandments, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. It's not necessarily part of the 10. So when you actually read it, you're not going to go there, but it tells us to love our neighbor as thyself in Exodus. But keep going, just 2 more verses.
The young man said unto him, All these things I have kept from my youth. What lack I yet? Yeshua said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, that thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
Okay.
Then said
No, that's good. And so, Mike? But as we see here, as in verse 17, it says, But if thou want to enter into life, keep the commandments. And again, what commandments? All of them. All of them. And so, of course, we need to be expounding and understand how and what that looks like. Because even as we read in Deuteronomy, it says that Jehovah will circumcise our heart so that we can keep his commandment, and he set his love upon us. And so, when you read this, in verse 20 or 21, it says, If you will to be perfect, if you want to be perfect, go and sell all that you have and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. So there's 2 things that this man had to do. One, again, it was about other people. He says, sell what you have. He's saying, give it to me. He could have easily said that. Could have said, sell what you have and just give it to me. But no, he said, my love, I came here for them. So sell what you have, because I see there's too many out here who doesn't have anything. And that's for all of us who have a lot. Matter of fact, all of us has a lot. We may not see it as so, but we do have enough to meet the needs of the people, at least in this community. So we should be looking to meet the needs of the community, because what if Yeshua came to you and said, at least sell this. Sell your car. This person haven't eaten. Sell this. Sell your new TV. Sell your new whatever, your new shoes you just bought. That new purse, that Gucci purse. Sell that. Sell all that. There's no reward for those things. You got the reward by having it. But there's, as I said, treasures. You have treasures in heaven. So sell these things that don't have no everlasting entity, but store up the things that will have everlasting. So sell this stuff. There's people who need things. And so again, we see to love Christ, we have to learn to love other people. to see the need of others. Because so many times we all have needs and we all need them to be met. Yes, we do. But we can't be so stuck on what we need to not see the needs of others. Because your need is not my need. Because your need, I might be able to feel. What I need, you might be able to feel. And so we feel in the need of the other. We're being the body. We're being the hands and the feet that we are called to be. And so this is something that we need to think of filling the needs of other people and seeing it, truly seeing it. And that's how we love God. And then after that, it says, follow me. That means follow his teaching, follow his ways, follow where he goes. Where did he go? What did he say? How did he say it? And so to love Christ, the Messiah, it's also echoed in Luke chapter 10, where the lawyer came and asked the same question, what must I do to receive eternal life? Is what it says there. And then he says, you do this to receive eternal life. And it's also stated in Revelation chapter 22, verse 14. So let's go to the last chapter of the whole, let's actually read that. The last chapter of the whole book, Revelation chapter 22. Just so we know that Christ ain't just making up something and that he ain't saying something of his own. But yet this is echoed throughout the scriptures. You going to read that, Mike? 14.
Chapter 22, verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gate into the city.
Okay, is it 14? Yes. And so as you hear, it says, say it again, read it one more time.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, and that they might have the right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city.
I like how it doesn't say, blessed are those who hear the commandments. Blessed are those who have read the commandments. Blessed are those like the scribes who have wrote down the commandments. You know, I wrote it on my wall. But it said, blessed are those who do his commandments. So this is, again, love is an action word. It is something that we do. It is something that we do. It is something that we do. So these aren't things just to be heard and things just to be said. And again, it didn't say, blessed is the man who says my commandments. A lot of people like to say it to seem spiritual. You like to sound spiritual, but yet the Holy Spirit is not living within us. Go and be blessed. He has you for $5. Maybe next time. Now, we are the hands and feet. And so we are to, hey, you need it? I got it. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I get it. I love you too much. I love my master too much. I love the Father too much to leave you out here with this need. And so, as we read in Romans chapter 5, it says, God commanded his love on us, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And so, we see that Jehovah and Christ came together in one thing, or came together in all things. They came together in this and says, you know what? We set our love upon them. We love them. I do this. Christ came down and says, I see all that you're doing. My heart hurts. You on the cross. Forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. I don't know if I have that. Being beaten up by the people who I came to save. Whipped by those. A lot of people with me, but yeah, he said, forgive them. I just can't help but to love them. Forgive them. He just couldn't help to love you. To say, just forgive them. And the thing is, our words don't stop. So when they go forth, they just continue to go. And so his words is echoing, forgive them, forgive them, forgive me, forgive Michael, forgive Karen. They don't know what they're doing, forgive them. So the words just keep echoing to the Father, forgive them. Forgive them. I know they did that. I know they keep doing it, but forgive them. I love them too much. That's why you see the cross, you see the blood. I poured it all out. Forgive them. Forgive them. I know they're depressed right now. They haven't called on your name, called on our names the way they should, but forgive them. I know they are struggling with this, forgive them, give them hope, give them a peace. Echo those words to him. And so when he said those words, they didn't return to the Father void. He had to do it. And so he said, yes, and he did. And it all was paid. Continual payment. And that's what Christ did for us. While we are yet sinners, so while I was still in my sin, while I still sin even today, he just said, I love you. I stamped it on you. You can't get away from it. You can try. You run away, but I stamped my love upon you. As I just saw you, as we read in Ezekiel, that he just covered us. Now you can't even get away from my love. There's no height nor depth. There's nothing that can separate you from the love. And so we do say thank you. And so we have to learn to receive that love, because once we receive that love, it enables us, it empowers us to love other people the way they should be loved. We no longer walk in bitterness. We no longer walk with that hatred, that hurt, or that pain, because there's too much love in me. There's no room for anything else. I wanted to be mad, but his love it filled everything else up. I couldn't even try to be angry. I tried to be. I wanted to be angry. I should have been angry. His love was too much. I should have been mad. You don't know who I am. I'm from Third Ward, from Sunnyside. We don't play that. We don't play. So I tried to bring the old man, but he was dead. I killed him. And so his love been set upon me, that I've been filled with his love. That I can't even act like I used to. Because I wanted to show her. I still have the blade in my pocket, just in case I want to be. But I couldn't. But his love was too powerful. I almost was upset that I wasn't upset. I've been there. I was like, why not upset? I want to be upset. I'm just going to say, thank you. You changed me. Your love changed me that much. I didn't realize how much you changed me until right now. You cleaned me up that much. I didn't think I could be cleaned up. I really didn't. But you did it. And so we say thank you. So we need to proclaim that to other people, that his love is that good. It's so good that you don't even realize you've been changed. Until the time comes to reveal us, oh, I've been changed. I've been changed. Healed. Delivered. He has delivered us. We have hope. We are free. We thank you. Amen. We still got a few more minutes. I'm trying to shorten it up, though. I am shortening it up. I know Miss Bernice going to come in and teach a little bit, so I am trying to shorten it up. What do you meant to be cool? But she will teach. She will teach. But again, the last is loving people. We already talked about it already. Yeshua talked about it. The Father talked about it. It is to love people. So if you don't have a heart for people, you don't have a heart for God. Or you don't have God's heart. And so as we fast, we need to break that stronghold. There should be no, I just don't like people. No. Then you just don't like God. Because that's who his heart's for. His heart's for the people. And so when we do the Seder and as we serve, we are co-hosting.
That's right.
And so since we are co-hosting, as Pastor said with the Shema, we're to show his character to these people. And his character is to love them, to forgive them, so that they can repent and be converted. We already read in Psalm 19 that the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, and that the power of Jesus can give them the empowerment to change their life, to change their life, to bring them out of that pain, out of that hurt. I know they've been through divorce. I know they've been through, I would say, abuse, verbal, mental, physical, sexual abuse. All these abuses that have been going on through times. But his love can overshadow all that and cast out all those things. We don't know what people's going through. And so our job is just to set our love. As the love that is set upon us, just to set your love on people. So And one of them, I know we don't like to do this because we don't feel like it's loving, but in Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1, 1 through 2, 3, 4, I'm not sure, but it says, we are to cry and to warn the people of the transgression. Now, we don't say it with hellfire all the time, beat them down, kick them down, while they're down. You're going to be down because I'll put you down. You know, it's, we tell them, no, we do this because it's unto Jehovah. No, this is the feast of Jehovah. This is not this other things, or the Easter is not his feast. Christmas is not his feast.
Yeah.
Halloween is definitely not his feast.
Yeah.
These things aren't his feast, but he has given us feasts. He has given us times to praise him, to lift him up, to commemorate things that he has done for us.
Yeah.
And so some of these are celebrations, some of these are sad times, some of these are this time just to get together and to declare who he is or what he's going to do. Because we in the Feast of Tabernacles, it's a declaration of what he's going to do. Because we know it's the celebration that's going to come, that we're going to celebrate with Jehovah when he comes back during his reign. The first thing we're going to do is Zechariah tells us. And so we don't beat up people on, hey, you didn't say the name, right? It needs to be Yeshua, it needs to be Yahweh, it needs to be Yahushua, it needs to be Yahweh. Hey, look, it says in Zephaniah that he's going to restore a pure language. And so whatever language that they have, they say it with the broken English, broken Spanish, broken Greek, whatever it is, whatever brokenness they have, we set our love upon them and say, he restores all things. I don't restore it. I'm not the restorer of you. It is him. I just bring you to the source. I bring you to the living water. I never thirsted again once I drank that. You were never hungry again. I haven't. And so we need to learn to do this. But and also Matthew chapter that we just read, we're talking about selling all that you have. Again, we're looking at people. You're looking for ways. When you love Yah and you love the Son so much, you're looking for ways to help other people. You just look and you can't help but say, look, I saw my heart just had compassion upon me, as Christ did, as a sheep without a pastor or without a shepherd. And so we should see that all these people are the sheep without a true shepherd. Let's bring them to the living water. Let's bring them back to the ancient ways. The good path is what it says.
Amen.
And so let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 1. I do want to read this. Read this and touch on the verse that we first came into, or a second verse, and then I'm going to shut it down. But 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Mike, can you read this verse 3 and verse 4?
Verse 3. Blessed be Jehovah, our Elohim, even the Father of our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, the Mushiach, the Father of mercies, and the God of all comfort, who comforted us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of Jehovah, our Elohim. For as the sufferings of Yeshua HaMashiach abound in us, so our consolation also abounded by the Mushiach. And whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same suffering which we also suffer, or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as ye are partakers of the suffering, so shall ye be also of the consolation. For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we are pressed out of measure above strength, insomuch that we despair even of life.
Yeah. So we see here that we are comforted. It is not just so that we can be comforted, but so that we can comfort others. And as it says, we bear the same affliction that goes on with Christ, because it says, you shall receive power to be a witness, which is also a word for be a martyr. And so we will endure some affliction. There's a time coming where we actually endure some physical affliction. There are people who will be killed for proclaiming who the Messiah is. If there's something to be killed for, I'd rather be for that. Because people are killed for a lot less, for $5. So yeah, all of it. So when we receive comfort, we receive love, we receive peace, we receive all these things, not that we can hoard it to ourselves, but that we can also give it to others and say, I know you're going through this. I'm sorry, if it's just to cry with that person, to comfort them, however they need to be comforted, the Holy Spirit will let you know how to comfort that person. And so if it's there, just to sit there. And I think even with Job's friend, it was better that they just kept quiet. When they went there, they stayed there for 3 days, a week, and they didn't say anything. They should have just kept their mouth shut, truthfully, and let Job be comforted that way. But it wasn't until they opened their mouth. Sometimes you need to learn to be quiet and just be there next to somebody. And so, but again, if we operate without the Holy Spirit, none of this is going to make sense. We're not going to know what to say. We don't say, what should I say? What should I say? Yeah, hey, Holy Spirit, you take it. If you open my mouth, you open my mouth. If you keep it closed, then you kept it closed. And so I know I'm supposed to be here because I received comfort at the times that I need to be comforted. I received your love at the times that I needed your love. I was protected at the times that I should have been protected. Or really, I should have been protected because I was in a place I shouldn't be. But you still protected me. And so even as we have done with our kids when they're at a place they should have been, we still come back and say, no, you come home. You come home. Your salvation is here. There's liberation here. There's restoration here. There's redemption here. And so this is something that we should be looking to comfort others as we comfort, or as we have been comforted, and as we are being comforted. And so let's go back to the last verse, and then we're going to shut it down, which is Ephesians chapter 3. We read this, but we're going to read it again. Eight through 2.
Ephesians chapter 3, 8 through 2. Unto me, who am less than the least of all saints, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of the Messiah, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world hath been hid in Yah, who created all things by Yeshua HaMashiach, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heaven, heavenly places, might be known by the church, the manifold wisdom of Yah.
Again, strongholds need to be broken this next 2 weeks. We have been charged with the wisdom of the things of God and to declare some things. So again, during these next 2 weeks, I need us to be uncomfortable. If we need to break through whatever we need to break through. There's too many, the souls on the line. Sometimes we forget there's truly souls on the line. Ours and others. And even as we didn't read it, but it says you warn them, and if they sin or if they die, they die, but their sin is on you. Is what it says. I charge you with their sin. Because I command you to warn them, and you didn't. And so we need to learn to love people enough to say, I can't let you drive in that ditch. I know you're going to break down in that car, but I didn't say nothing. I just let you drive it. You broke down on me. I knew it was going to break down. No, you don't let somebody do that. Sell a car that you know is going to break down in 2 days. I passed it up just enough for 2 days. I gave you a 1.5 day warranty. And I didn't answer your call until after that time. So, oh, your warranty's up. No, we don't do As Christ says, we love others as He has loved us, and He didn't do that to us. And so we are to declare some things in the next 2 weeks. And so I want to provoke you to actually